I chose that name because, because even if we lose that game, it was the first rugby final cup happening in 1987, and for me it was really a huge souvenir anyway. So it was also the revenge of a game we've played against the All Blacks 6 months before, where we were lucky to beat the All Blacks in Nantes, in Britain, in France. And though that was the revenge during that final. So I've got very good relationship with the All Blacks, and we are sharing maybe something a little bit different, but the All Blacks and the New Zealanders, they love the French flair, because it's something like in fashion you cannot really touch, you cannot analyze. There's not a very precise definition of what is the French inspiration or the French flair. And even already at that time, the All Blacks were leading the rugby world, and it was an honor, even an honor to lose against this team. So the idea to take this name as a brand came a little bit later. No, not at all, not at all. The story didn't come from the French team, the story came from the club team. And beginning of '87, I was belonging to a typical student team. So what means student means a little bit crazy sometimes. And so we decided to input in the rugby, in the traditional rugby spirit, we have decided to input a little fantasy. And the first crazy idea was to play with the berets on the Bayonne field in the south of France, which is a place where they officially wear the beret, but not on the field, on the life. And so we decided to go on the pitch wearing berets against the local team. And the press took the opportunity to speak a lot about that, the sports press, and they began to talk about our team, our crazy team. They were calling us the showbiz, Parisian showbiz, and that was our nickname. And then we began to, we won this game. We won this game wearing berets. And then we grew until the final. We were lucky to play in the famous Parc des Princes, which is the field of the Paris Saint-Germain. For this occasion, this unique moment, we thought that we couldn't come on the pitch without doing something. So we decided to keep the accessory, which was the bow tie. And our mascot was pink, it was the Pink Panther. So we decided to paint the bow tie in pink. And it was a unique moment. It was maybe one day in our life, because we didn't know that we would come back in '90, and then we played the game against Toulon, and even if we lose again, the press took the occasion to talk a lot about the spirit, about the student team, and then the marketing began to grow. One famous producer decided to make a record at that time, and we went for TV shows for many times, and then everybody was building a logo, talking about the bow tie, the pink bow tie, the guys with the pink bow tie, etc., etc. And when we see that, we took the opportunity to think about what we could do with this logo. We take the time to study what could be this brand. Then the idea came to think about rugby jersey, and then we decided also to choose a premium positioning. Just to finish on that point, the idea was to be sure that all our rugby friends will come once to try a rugby jersey. And because of the quality, I was almost sure that they will come back. That was the bet. This is the reason we had to choose those marketing points to find priorities and to try to learn as well this job, because I didn't know at all. Architecture helped me because of the colors, because of the construction of a project, because of many things. But in terms of techniques, I was not ready. So it took almost 5 years to begin to learn, and I'm still learning today. I was lucky to have and I still have an associate called Eric Blanc, and we were working together. And when I was playing, he was on the office, and when I was at the office, he was resting. So we had a good balance to launch the brand together. So it was not a huge rupture, it was quite cool, and it was very helpful to be two. Alone, I wouldn't achieve it, for sure. And at the beginning, you're doing everything. You're doing everything. You take care of the collection, you take care of the logistics, you take care of the accounting. This point is very important to understand that on the field, you cannot do anything seriously alone, especially on a collective sport. And furthermore, on a fighting collective sport. Okay, you find a good balance and then you make results. So we understood that very quickly as well, that from sport to the real life, things are not so far. And we had to take people to help us very quickly and better than us on different points. The team now is about 200 people, 80 people staying at the Mont-Louis, which is our office in Paris, and we are all the conception of the collection are done there, and we're working with different area in the world. We have a third of our production which is done in South America, and especially Peru, because we have this extra fine long Pima fiber, which is a fantastic quality for us since more than 25 years. And we're working with Italy, and we're working also with Asia, either Hong Kong, either a little bit India, with an Italian team who's there. We really believe on quality all over the world, because we don't manufacture in France, we don't anymore. Today, the issue for Eden Park is really to become this Parisian team with French flair. The difference is that for Eden Park, we have a fantastic true story to make the definition of what can be this inspiration. Those guys who used to wear the bow ties on the field, they can jump on the table and say, "Carpe diem, this is French flair. This is inspiration." We have a fantastic true story to make a precise definition of this French flair. And this is something we are pushing now all over the frontier. And this is the particularity, the specificity of Eden Park. There's a link with the Univer, which is this rugby with a lot of values, education values. And we have a true story to make a precise definition of what means inspiration or French flair. The legend said that the bow tie has been invented to make an opposition to the formal tie. The tie was very formal, so the bow tie came as something a little more fantasy. And the legend said that it was a French who did that. It was not me. At the beginning, we were playing on this, and we're still playing on this paradox to put pink bow ties on big fellows, big rugby players who are 2 meters tall. And so there's a paradox, pink bow tie on those guys. But all the story about Eden Park is a mixture of rigor and fantasy. You're performant, you win the game, and you wear a pink bow tie. And in our job, in the current construction of what we're doing with the brand and the collectioning, we're trying to keep that. You will have a fantasy lining inside my jacket. Outside, it will be quite formal. We are using button, okay, but there are oval button. We are using the checks and the stripes, but we're trying to make it camailleux or discreetly. It's not shiny. But we are always playing with these paradoxical things, which is very important. And the pink bow tie today is the real symbol of Paris, of this French flair for men, because there's not so many Parisian brand at that time coming from Paris. Our friends like us became Swiss, and so we're lucky to be specialists with one iconic product. We're lucky also to have this iconic product to defend it, which is the rugby jersey, which is used from the sport to the very dressed line. So it's our emblem. In terms of product, we are thinking also about technical products. This is the reason why we have a partnership with Adidas, a meeting between people. I really believe on that in my professional life. There's some limit to what you can do by yourself or not. And it's the same thing for the team in Eden Park. We are not useful to play with technical products. And so when we met the people from Adidas, there were a real sense to study that and to try to make together, adding our two DNA to make a common product with the French, with the inspiration of Eden Park and the technique of Adidas. So it's a range of 20 pieces. And it's the first step. We hope that we will work pretty soon on the V2, and so we hope that we will have a future, especially on those technical products, because for the rest, we almost know what we want to do. The fantastic evolution for the future, I think, will concern material fabrics, with the arriving of new fabrics, new things, with an eco responsibility. It is. My concern was that, to remind the team, please, every product must be visible, and we have now a list of detail coming from this rugby universe, piping, the way the things are done, the cut and sewn, of course the main rugby stripes with a certain distance. Of course the bow tie is very present. I tell the team, please, you have to find a way without only telling me that there's the bow tie. So take off the bow tie and explain me why this product is an Eden Park product. So it can be material, you can use the twill of the famous rugby jersey. It's also a question of colors. We have a strong link with our club, which is the Racing Club de France. It's sky blue and white stripes. The navy and pink also, which are the color of the logo. So it means that we have already 4 colors very strong in the company. I would say shirts and knitwear, which is a big part already of a lifestyle collection. But we are very in confidence with those products. I used to be an architect student. I love decoration. It's very helpful as well in terms of image, because we're doing quality items, and so it's good. Linen items for beds, because we have a special composition of linen with a treatment. We make it softer, and it's quite a good thing to sleep in linen. I didn't know. I thought it was silk, the best way, and for summer when it's very hot, the linen is very agréable. We said in French. So we have decided, after 30 years, to celebrate our anniversary. We have decided to change that as well. We have changed many things regarding this French flair, and to have a new orientation, new marketing orientation. And of course, digital was in the middle of the subject. We have changed our site, which was a little old. And next step will be to open now this site to other countries, to work on marketplace. And this will come pretty soon, and lately 20. For me, I will describe it in 2 words: rigor and fantasy. If I have to explain that, I think if you have only fantasy, it's not enough. If you have only process, it's sad. We are Latin people, maybe like Indonesian. We are Latin people, and we need to have a little touch of fantasy. So if you can, exactly like our DNA, exactly the story of the bow tie, you can be successful and you can win the games, but don't forget your fantasy, because this is creation. And so I think the flair, the French flair, it's not only creation. French can be serious. I promise.